Welcome to the Unchurching podcast.
There's just so much more.
Welcome back once again. Today we get one of those sort of off-the-cuff episodes again. If you haven't listened to our episode Unplugged 1, it's where we just have some casual conversations about what's going on in our lives at the moment, and that's part of bringing you on this journey. We don't want to just be, I feel like we do it every episode, but we don't want to just be bringing you guests or topical stuff. We want to also just have an open forum to share where we're at, because we think that's super helpful. We've also been privileged with so many of you listening, and we appreciate that so much, to have received some comments, received some questions.
Yeah.
And so we're going to go through some of those today as well. And some of those ones are going to end with our humdingers. So
I'm excited.
I'm looking forward to that. But let's start on a personal note today. And that is just our lives, how we're doing and what that's like. I have reportedly stated that I feel like I'm 3 months behind Rachelle in this awakening journey. And that might still be true and it might not be that true. So let's see.
I don't know how you gauge that. Oh, I honestly don't know how you gauge that. I don't even remember.
Yeah, because you go through something and then I know that it's roughly 3 months later that I get the same epiphany.
Whoa.
You get turned on and then like 3 months later, I get turned on to that same point. And I'm like, oh, okay, it's about 3 months.
Oh my gosh, that would have actually been so helpful to me to know earlier. So then I've
said this too many times. Like,
so for 3 months, I don't have to be frustrated with. So then 3 months, I'm like, I know, okay, I can't get frustrated with you because you'll catch up.
You are. I mean, that's how I've worked it out. I mean, you are roughly 3 months ahead of things that I start realizing.
Yeah, it's strange because I'll have something drop, and to me it's like humongous. Like God literally tapped me on the shoulder and gave me a realization of something I didn't know before, and it's so big and it's so huge. But to explain it to you is really hard. To bring it down to like smaller terms, because especially if you don't have the revelation, it doesn't seem like a big deal to you. Until you get there, and then you're like, oh my gosh, this thing. And I'm like, I know. And so, yeah, no, it's cool, but it's interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. I mean, it plays out in social circles as well, because you'll be having certain conversations with people. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool. You know, and then like a little bit later, I'm like, wow, that is actually very cool.
Yeah.
But you can't, I don't know, I can't.
Yeah.
For me, I'm happy at this pace. I feel like I had to charge so much in Christianity and in leadership. It's always about knowing, and it's always about like, having to be the guy with the answers and all that stuff. And now I'm just kind of enjoying being the baby in a way, being slow.
Crazy. That's crazy to me, because there's no ways that you're the guy that would ever admit you didn't know something or that you were behind anyone.
Yeah.
There's no ways you're the same guy, because you would never have admitted that. And I've heard on this podcast you say that more than anything else you've said, honestly. It's so humbling. It's amazing to see.
Yeah, sy praat die waarheid, which is Afrikaans for she speaks the truth. So for me, from that side, if it's been frustrating, I know at home it can be like that as well. Like when you are dealing with a situation a certain way, and I'm still dealing with it, and I can kind of feel it, dealing with it with some of the parts of my old me.
Yeah.
In a sense, the same kind of frustration, or initially the same kind of anger that would come up to defend the ego. That's gotten less, but now it's like, I don't know. I sometimes I feel like you're too floopy, and some things should still be spoken about.
Floopy? Nah.
And you're like, no, but this is not a thing. Yeah, but it is a thing to me in the moment.
Yeah.
And you forget that I'm behind you, and you still need to have some of those conversations.
Yeah. No, I can. Yeah. It's just very hard because, I don't know, it's like something's unlocked and you can't go back and like, you can't see things without that thing you unlocked. there's like these, it's like you get given these like vision goggles, like layers of it, and it brings more color. Oh, this is good. Wait, this is really good. It's like every time you unlock something, it brings a color lens into the front of your eye that you see more clear. And as another thing comes, it adds these layers and everything starts unfolding into this great, beautiful, majestic, colorful understanding of it. And so when it's a situation that we're not necessarily seeing the same way, for me, it's impossible to turn that lens off.
All goods have layers.
Yeah. And for you, like you're not seeing with that lens yet. So it's impossible for you to see it. And so this is actually a great conversation. I think we just have to get to a place where we both understand that.
Yeah.
And then I'll just shush and you can just think out loud and I won't say anything.
I think space is actually a really important thing. We talk over each other a lot.
Yeah.
And I think just taking some time, it's like the hardest thing in a relationship, the time out rule. It's like just impossible. But I think wanting to have the last say is still like the culmination of my ego in those moments.
Yep. It's it's true, but it's cool. Wait, that was like a therapy session. That was pretty awesome.
Anyway, so
that's good.
But I mean, how do we support each other? I mean, you do tell me a lot of awesome things, and I do ask you for a lot of guidance on things. It's not all like friction.
No.
I think
no.
People make that mistake to think, this has to be friction because so much change. But actually, if you support each other well, then it can actually be a cool journey together.
I guess for me, like, I think being able to have given you that advice and to like kind of try and spark things in you or ask questions a certain way or have conversations, I think for me has been a great support for you in this journey because it is essentially giving you space, not only to like have space, but to grow as well because of those questions or nudgings and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And for me, it's been great to be able to ask you things. I mean, if you're a husband and you're used to being a masculine male, it may be one of the first things you have to get over, that you actually ask your wife for advice and for guidance. I can see a lot of people being in that paradigm in a very strong way, especially coming out of Christian church.
Oh, yeah.
It is so male dominated.
Yep.
Because I'm the man of the house, I'm the leader, you listen to me, I'm your spiritual boss, it's real.
Yeah, and it's still happening. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so to be able to ask you for guidance is awesome for me. And I think overall, just having somebody on the journey with you. I mean, for us, it happens to be my soulmate, and we're under the gun actually with it because I'm at home all the time. Yeah. Because I'm recovering. So we see each other a lot.
Yeah.
And you have to bend a lot. And that's after all these years of marriage. So for people who are maybe going through that alone in a way, or perhaps with a partner who isn't quite there, would have find someone. Yeah. There are plenty of conversations at the moment and where you can connect with someone that understands what you're going through. Mm-hmm. And you just need someone to walk with. Our friends have been instrumental.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Just finding ourselves again, remembering.
And the right people will come around you when you start awakening. I promise you, they will. It's literally the moment when you start attracting your people. And so just be open to who you're meeting and synchronicities and things around you, because everything starts coming together really well. Yeah, law of attraction is real. It's a real thing. It is frequency and vibration and you have to
manifestation, all of the things. So it's been a massive change in lifestyle. I was thinking about this when we were driving. We actually took a voice note about this, and in future we'd like to share some voice notes with you, because we can just do those thoughts wherever. But this one was not the best quality because we didn't really plan for that. So we're just going to chat about it. But why don't you tell the story, babe?
Okay. No, I think we were driving back from having watched sunset somewhere, and we drove past a church, and it was a Tuesday night. And there were cars outside, obviously doing like a church meeting. And you said, what did you say?
We were just talking about some of the stuff we need to get done in the week. work-wise, and I said, "At least you're not in there on a Tuesday night in a meeting." I mean,
Yes.
that parking lot was full. And then we started chatting about just what that lifestyle was like.
Yes, how many meetings we were in every week. I know we had Monday Life Group and we hosted that for a long time. Then it was Tuesday leaders meeting, Wednesday prayer meeting, Thursday was generally like the young adults or an equip meeting. And then Friday, this is when we were in the Middle East. So Friday morning was church. And so then you had probably an event on Saturday, and then Sunday was like your one day. No, Sunday was back to freaking work in Dubai. And so you really just, it was so all consuming all the time.
Yeah, there was a lot of meetings. And then there's always the additional meeting where it's like, oh, we can't do it on such and such date because pastor's traveling. So all of us must, adjust our schedules and be there because else you're not a real leader.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I think it was
Deacons
at that
meetings,
point.
elders meetings.
No, I know. So many.
I haven't even scraped it.
Oh my
If
gosh,
you're
you're
in a
right.
group, a healing group, or a prayer group, or
Yeah.
whatever, it is all consuming a lot of time.
Yeah, it's a lot of time. And so that's what I went into immediately when you said it. I was like, oh man, I feel like it cost me so much time and also money because there were jobs I didn't take because of it. There were tithes we were giving when we shouldn't have been giving the amount of money we were.
Yeah.
There was just, it was just a lot. And then before I could go down that road of kind of being the frustration around it, I actually switched immediately and I was like, no, but it's in a lot of those meetings and in a lot of those places that I did truly find my connection with God. And I meet people on this awakening journey who haven't had the side of religion or faith or belief before, and they're coming into it having to start their relationship with the divine. And because of church and the moments that we did have and were privileged to have, I really established an incredible connection with the divine, like with God, with Jesus, Holy Spirit. Like I knew and I know what they feel like and what that presence is like to be around. And so for me now, moving into awakening, I can tap into these things so much quicker and so much deeper than ever before. And so it's pretty amazing to see.
Yeah, no, look, I totally agree with that. I mean, I can feel that. I can feel almost have like this natural sort of blueprint in a way.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
To
exactly
connect.
that.
I've seen people that haven't had some sort of paradigm find it a little difficult, I think. Even though they're generally open to more, that fine blueprint of how to start is there. I don't know in all the meetings and that if that was actually the intent to connect with God more. It was kind of more to do the format, get through the worship, get to the meeting, get people out because we've got so many meetings in the week that the time with God actually almost becomes meaningless. It's not really. But yeah, we did. We learned a pattern.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think there's going to be a bit of both. And like I always hope that there are churches out there, the divine is extending in this time of awakening to be reaching people. And I hope and believe people are having those crazy divine experiences in church and awakening within the church right now because I don't think it can stay out of the church.
Yeah, I don't know. When people are under that paradigm like that, I don't know. I appreciate your enthusiasm that it's going to break in everywhere, but I don't know.
We'll see. My cup's always half full, so let's see what happens.
Yeah.
We'll come back to this topic later when awakening starts happening. It's okay. They're just going to call it revival anyway, and so
it's true. But everything's going to change because tithing will stop.
Yeah, let's see. It's very interesting. That's an interesting conversation.
I've said that for years. That's what will happen.
Yeah.
When revival happens, churches will have to get back to the centrality of what I said at that time was Christ.
Jesus.
Now I just know it's the Christ Spirit.
Yeah, it's true.
Once you start preaching that centrality, all the other programs have to fall away. And tithing has to fall away, which means you lose staff, which means you can't run the same programs.
Interesting.
And spend the same budgets. So some churches will probably make that decision. Some of them, probably the smaller ones. But a lot of them, especially the mega churches, will just double down because they've got budgets.
Interesting.
And they'll just double down and go more entertainment, more free pizza. So, yeah. But, I mean, it's not just our view on church meetings and stuff that's changed. I mean, our view of success has changed, and what
so
do we
much.
want to do with our lives, or what do we want to achieve, or...
Oh, yeah. And I think everything switched for me in my business, where as I awakened, my business became less about getting more clients, and it became more about truly just helping an individual. So I'm a mental performance coach. And so before, it was a lot driven to like emails and reach outs and, you know, put stuff out there, like try and manifest these clients and all of that stuff. And as I started awakening, it became just more of like no, everything, I'm becoming the person I need to be. And if I'm just helping one person, it's going to draw. My only job here is to help humanity. And this is how I do it. And things just switched very quickly for me after that. And it's been beautiful. And for me, that is success.
Yeah. That is a much more profound journey and much more realistic and human and attainable and relatable than the church view that would have been, God told me to do this job.
Yeah.
And now I'm suffering for him.
Yeah.
And it's up to him to bring clients and provision in.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I'm just suffering for him. It must be the devil. There's a lot of confusion in that.
Speaking of that.
Yeah, there's a lot of confusion in that. And
yeah, I had a conversation.
Yeah, I've seen it play out with you and your business. It's amazing. And now I'm trying to make sure that I change my mindset around that as well.
Yes, you have to. Everyone has to. I had a conversation with a friend last week who's still very much a Christian, and she looks exhausted and like her business is eating her alive. And I said to her, you know, do you want to be doing this? Like, are you passionate? Is this what you want to be doing? And her answer was like, well, the Holy Spirit told me I must do this. And so, yes, I guess, yes, it's like, it is, you know, and then kind of had to work through that question I'd asked her. And it was just nice for me to see the other side of that, because I used to be there as well. And this journey just connects you to your soul's purpose. Once you awaken, your soul remembers why you came here. So you'll end up doing what you're meant to have been doing, not all along, because timing is right on time. But this is what you're here for. Literally, it's going to start revealing itself to you, and it's very exciting.
Yeah. How do you deal with the change in the idea of provision? Because even though it's a facade, there's always a structure before. You do it like this, and then X will happen. And you'll see it on Instagram and everything. Build this coaching business. You have to do it like this. And but you have not used that approach.
No, not at all. I've just gone with what has felt very natural to me, and I'll honestly be in meditation or something, and an idea will come into my mind about a project I need to do, or like a workshop I need to run, and it will just pop into my mind, and I'll be reminded, oh, this is the next thing I need to do. That's what I need to focus on, and I do it, and it brings provision, and then the next thing reveals itself, and it just hasn't stopped. And I read this today, like our only job on earth is healing, and our job in heaven is creating. And so when you start awakening, you have your role on earth is to heal and help other people through it. But that heavenly connection is literally creation. You get to start creating, and that's really what's been happening. And I believe now that I move and vibrate and am at a frequency of where everything I need will now come to me. I had to become that, but I believe I'm there. So when I think I need something, I just believe I'm on the right vibration. And if I don't feel like I am, I go do some breath work. And I, clear if there is anything that's stuck in there, I clear it out, and then I just get ready to receive more.
Yeah.
It's cool.
By stuck in there, what do you feel that is? What's stuck in there?
I think just sometimes when like your life situation or world things get in and start causing a little bit of like fear, or a little like you're second guessing, or you start finding yourself in the future like playing out worst case scenarios so that you don't get there, like just life situations, then I feel like, oh no, that's energy I've allowed in that shouldn't be in there because it holds me down. And so then I'm like, okay, do some breath work, meditation, go walk in nature. Honestly, by the time I ground out a little bit, by the time I've done all of that, I'm like free and light as a bird, joyous, and just keep going with what I need to be doing.
Yeah, that's worth doing in your day.
It's really good.
Yeah, that's good. So let's get into like what we've been reading lately or learning or watching. We've seen some good shows as well.
Yeah.
Things. What stands out to us and what that's sort of meant to us? Do you want to start or do you need some time to think?
No, you go for it. I know you've been listening to something really good.
Yeah, so I mentioned in the last episode the book called The End of Your World by Adyashanti. Unbelievable. Cannot recommend it enough. That's why I'm mentioning it again, twice, and maybe even thrice. So honestly, in my top 3 for sure. So that's been amazing. And sometimes you read a book and you just can't shake it. It's so impactful. There's a few like that. But now I've gone on to, I was looking for a book that spoke about physical awakening, like I'm going through. Like there's a lot that happens with somebody who's in pain for a long time. If you've experienced this, then you know, where you want to detach from the pain. You want to sort of become disembodied from the pain. And I wanted a book that speaks about that and that can help me feel more in my body again and just like I'm living here now. Because I think part of being present is that it's feeling in your body, feeling part of your body.
Yeah.
And I've realized there was a big gap there.
Okay, wow. Would you recommend that for anyone, like anywhere on the journey? It's not just for someone going through like a physical awakening.
I would recommend for anyone, Rachelle, and let me tell you why. The book is called The Wisdom of Your Body, all right? The Wisdom of Your Body. And the author is Hilary McBride. And yes, I would recommend it for anybody because for me, it is relating to that particular disembodiment. But what I realized is that it's not actually the pain that made me feel disembodied. It was the trauma moment. It was the trauma
which people
moment
have.
that I'll mention a bit from now because we want to speak about it. But of that very first moment of not having control of my body when I first started getting these symptoms.
Yeah.
And
it was intense, man.
That was tied to what we think at best is a man-made virus.
Yeah.
Not COVID, not that didn't test anything, just I think there's other man-made viruses out there. Yeah, let me not upset anybody. But
dude, we're already upsetting people. You may as well keep going.
Well, let's not upset everybody. Well, let's upset the right people. So I wanted this, but for most people, yes, a traumatic event can cause you to be very disembodied.
Right. Which everyone's
there's
had.
also social norms that make you feel disembodied, like certain body types or athleticism or such.
Okay.
But as I thought about it, one of the things that makes you feel most disembodied is dogmatic religion. Because if we take Christianity as our context, you are constantly focused on the outward. You're constantly focused on the doing, not the being.
Yes.
And so when you're focused on the doing, you are not being, which means you're not feeling that connection with your body. And I realized how all of that outward dogmatic worship and performance actually separates you from yourself. And so that's become quite a big theme in the book for me, actually. So
okay, cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. Very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, well, for me, I think, number one, I would recommend Foundation on Apple TV. If you haven't watched Foundation, like this is nothing to do with anything other than its epicness and the fact that it's a very cool picture of awakening and like the empire being like all your systems and your systematic systems like religion and
Government.
politics, and yes, and then you have all these other entities that come in, and it's just a very awakened, conscious driven. It's like Game of Thrones for the conscious awakening journey.
Set in space.
Oh, set in space, duh.
Yeah,
obviously.
I mean, you missed like a lot out there, but it's like intergalactic, so expect a little weird and cool costumes and stuff. And it is one where you feel completely lost for like the first 3 or 4 episodes.
Uh-huh.
But that's what all the genius shows are like.
True.
All the good shows are like. And so these characters start coming together.
That's so
and
good.
then you start realizing, holy shit, this is a picture of what I've lived and what
Yeah.
I'm coming out of.
Yeah, that's
And
really
then
good.
the show becomes very explicit about that their quest is actually to, all the rebels, the awakening ones, basically, their quest is actually
Foundation.
to preserve humans' consciousness.
Yes, to have a balance, to bring a balance.
So,
It's
and
interesting.
these other forces and programs against consciousness. When you describe it like that, it sounds wacky. It's not. It is it's Apple. It's the Apple.
It's a brilliant show.
production.
It's a brilliant show.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. Good recommendation.
Yeah. I mean, that's my only recommend. I am reading a book right now, but I want to get through a lot more of it before I recommend it. And so it's very good, but yeah, no, the foundation, it's a good one.
Yeah, it's a good one. The other thing I thought about bringing up, because I sort of made a next massive step in this area, is throughout this time of healing, I've really been practicing using YouTube videos with particular frequencies.
Yeah, right.
And so there are frequencies like 432 megahertz that are supposed to enhance healing.
Right.
I think 528 is like a also similar, but also love connected type feeling.
Yes.
And the more you study vibration, the more you understand that these things are real.
Yeah.
And that everything's made up from vibration. So it makes sense that frequencies and vibrations have an effect on your physical body, even on your mind, or how you think, or on your environment.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've been doing that for months and months and months.
Yeah, you have.
Using frequency music, and we use it to sleep every night. We don't just put sounds on. We have a track that has that 432 frequency in it, or some of the right frequencies, and we play that while we sleep, and it's like you sleep so much better.
So good. Yeah,
and
it's
you wake
really
up
good.
more refreshed.
Yeah.
So that's been a big one for me.
There's a lot of research on this right now. A lot of research about how sound healing is happening. Like people's bodies are being healed through sound. And even when because I have sound bowls as well. I don't know if I've ever spoken about those, but I got sound bowls very early into this journey because it connects to the energy points within your body. And so it really activates those, and it vibrates on the same frequency that's supposed to lock into. And it really just calibrates you. And this is a cool side note. I was asked to do like my first mindfulness class that I've ever done. I used to teach dance, but now I actually did my first mindfulness class, and I was just brave, and I took the sound bowls with, and I did a meditation, and I did a body check and awareness, and then some mindful movement after that. And I was like, dude, this is like what I was born to do. It's so cool.
And this is with adults, not kids.
With
like
adults.
You normally work
yes.
with. Yeah.
No, it's really cool. This journey's so fun. There's always just opportunity. It's cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. And if you haven't heard sound bowls, or if you just feel like a bit of that now, you can get that on YouTube as well.
Yes, everything's on YouTube. Yeah.
Everything's on YouTube, all of this stuff. So it's just going to change your algorithm a little bit. But now I've gone to the next step of that, and we have a friend who we're going to have on the show at some point.
Oh, yes.
Who is creating just the most amazing thing. I won't ruin it. We'll speak about it when we get there. But also has this understanding of resonance, frequency, tones, sounds, things like this. And he's now given me a protocol just today to follow. It's like I think it's a 5 or 7 step protocol of things to do that are related to those schools of thought for healing my body. And it is included like in the tones of even releasing guilt,
Wow.
releasing shame, moving on, but it's all coded for you in this incredible way that makes you feel very free after. And I'm excited to see what it does to my body, because he's had people that have used tones that have seen swelling go down in their bodies just from
Interesting.
sound,
Oh,
just
this
from
is going to be
tones, just
good.
from saying certain things at certain tones. It's pretty amazing. So I'm excited I'm really committed to it twice a day, and I'm really excited to see what does happen, what does come from it.
Yes, so you mentioned earlier on about guilt and letting go of guilt, and it sparked something in me that I'm actually reading right now. And I think a lot of people have to let go of that guilt in the awakening or in the healing journey. But the line that stood out to me, and it's out of context, obviously, but that stood out to me from the book, was that love does not kill to save. And so first off, like when you understand God is only love, how could he kill Jesus to save us? Because that is not loving in any way.
Yeah.
And then secondly, it speaks about this like guilt of how guilt was the first kind of separation that man felt. Guilt was the reason for the separation from God, but it's a us thing. It's not a God thing. We've taken on the guilt, we've taken on the shame, and it also speaks about like how it's easier to relate to or be okay with being part of the crucifix, but how people actually have a fear of being part of redemption because it's too big and like unexplainable. But anyway, so this post just said like, for so many of us, the cross was framed as the ultimate proof of God's love, yet it came wrapped in violence, sacrifice, and blood. And when you stop to breathe into that, something feels off. Because if love required killing, then attack would be salvation. And that's not God, that's the ego's interpretation of love. Awakening invites us to see the cross differently, not as God demanding violence to appease his wrath, but as humanity projecting its fear, control, and ego onto the divine. Real love doesn't attack. It doesn't demand sacrifice. It doesn't harm in order to heal. The truth of God's love is unconditional, expansive, and ever-present. It saves not by killing, but by reminding us that separation was never real in the first place.
Yeah.
Isn't that epic?
Very good.
Yeah.
It's amazing. You're going to want to read that again. That's why you should be following our Instagram. So speaking of Instagram, we've had the privilege of some listeners reaching out and
This
and
is
stuff.
good.
And one sent in a video, which I thought is worth chatting about, considering it's Halloween time of year.
That's true.
And that's very interesting. I think we're going to have some interesting conversations around Christmas and around Easter. And I think Halloween's one of those times of year. So the video that was sent to me is actually of a former satanic church leader. And he is now a Christian. Okay.
Sorry. Yeah.
And so
it's not a joke. He really is.
Yeah, it's definitely not a joke. And so he was actually speaking about Halloween. Now, there's a few problems here. The one is that he's on an American podcast, but he's a South African guy.
Oh.
And the one thing I know about that is that as South Africans, we didn't understand Halloween.
No.
We definitely thought it all had to do with devil worship.
100%.
We had no idea how cultural it was, how seasonal it was.
That's true.
You know, just all of that. We also didn't understand about things like in Mexico, Day of the Dead.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we didn't, that was not framed for us in South Africa at all.
Yeah.
So this is a South African former satanic church leader who's speaking about how when people decorate their houses for Halloween in a neighborhood, don't laugh, it's not nice.
Sorry.
Okay? It's not nice to laugh. All right? When people decorate their houses in a neighborhood, it actually forms a area, kind of like a cordoned off area or
a portal.
something.
to the
You
underworld.
can't do that. I'm trying to get through this. Okay?
Go for it.
This is serious stuff. Okay, so forms a portal where the demonic occurs. Now, we used to believe this sort of thing, that it was linked to demonic. And he speaks about, it's the biggest year of child sacrifice and all of that. And that might be true.
Yeah.
But now he says you need to pray against that. And you need to counter that. And you need to actually, be a Christian against that. So that the devil doesn't have his way. And these are things that I believed in the church at one point. I'm sure all of us did.
Yeah.
But the question from our listener was, what do you make of this? Like, what do you make of this guy? What do you think about that and Satan and demons and things and all of that? And my answer to him was, this guy simply shifted from one dogmatic belief to another.
Yeah.
He's shifted from the dogmatic belief that Satan is a being, that Satan is worth worshipping, and that is who he is as a Satanist, to Christianity.
Yeah.
And believing all the dogmatic beliefs of Christianity. What he hasn't done is found the middle ground, finding himself.
Oof.
Letting go of the dogma.
Yes.
And being free of it. Instead, he's gone from one to another. So that's not awakening. That's when you see it going from one dogmatic belief to a different one.
Well, that's interesting because one of the laws of the universe is that the pendulum swings, right? And so you see it happen a lot with people is when they are very far one side for one thing and they jump ship, the pendulum swings back just as far in the other direction.
Yeah.
If you're not open to, the journey of potentially not swinging anyway and trying to find the middle ground. That's amazing.
Yeah, when Rachelle says laws, she's talking about those that can be found in a book called the Kabbalion.
Yes.
Which is not Kabbalah, don't be scared. The Kabbalion, which is the Hermetic philosophy. And this is the 3 initiatives. You can pick it up on Amazon. And basically what blew my mind about this, I've mentioned it before, is that, the original, let's call it Christian, it wasn't called that, but the way is what it was called, beliefs that Jesus and his disciples taught were very mystical. And when Constantine got hold of that and changed the Bible and changed all the stuff and all the beliefs for political control, he got rid of all the mysticism. This book is actually, and it says it in the introduction, actually the teachings that existed before Constantine removed the mysticism. So one of those laws, the pendulum swings.
Yeah, it's a great
question
book.
that followed on from the video was that where does Satan fit in? And all the Satanists and those who worship him, as in Satan.
Yeah.
And also asking if we're going to speak more about demons.
Yeah, and so we touched on this a little bit beforehand, I think, but I don't think it was from the same viewpoint necessarily, but we did touch on it in a previous episode.
Yeah, episode 9, which was the fear, doubt, and the devil episode.
Right, okay, yes. And so I'd love to answer this question and just give a quick breakdown of like some of the realities or options or bigger picture on this. But if you look at like the whole how Satanism came into the world on a nice like linear scale, if you go back to Old Testament and the Hebrew Bible, the word Satan comes from the Hebrew Hasatan, and that means the adversary or the accuser. And so in these early texts, Satan is not actually an independent evil being, but it's just a kind of role or function. Anyone who is an accuser or adversary was referred to as this. And so it's not rebellion against God. It's more like opposition or testing with like divine permission happening. There's no like red devil.
It's more like a behavior.
Yes. There's no red devil with horns at this point. It's
until
just
Halloween.
Yeah. Yes, which is actually a cool question, by the way. And so then what happens is post-exile influence, when Persia dualism came in, the Jewish people were exposed to their Persian religion, which encountered a worldview of two cosmic forces, basically light and darkness and evil, right? And so then this dualistic idea began to shape Jewish thought as evil being a force opposing good. That's how that came to be. And so over time, this influenced the evolution of Satan. And then we have like New Testament Christianity. And so by this time, Jesus' Satan has actually evolved into a shorthand for evil or opposition to God's kingdom, right? And so much of Jesus' language is actually metaphorical. So it points to forces of deception, ego, or oppression a lot of the times.
Oh, that's why the accuser of the brethren could be anybody,
100%.
acting as a Satan in a way.
Yes, Satan, yeah, exactly. And so early Christians also living under Roman occupation, what happened was Satan often symbolized oppression as worldly powers, as much as they were spiritual ones. And so it was a term used, it wasn't an entity referred to, right? But then what happened in the medieval Christianity that came after that, this is where we get the devil picture of how we see Satan and the devil today, which comes from pagan gods demonized as Christianity. So pagan gods were demonized as Christianity spread, basically. And this picture came through literature like Dante's Inferno and Milton's Paradise Lost, and gave Satan a personality, a kingdom, and a story at this point. So fear of Satan was so heavily used as a tool of control by the medieval church. It's ridiculous.
No, well, it makes perfect sense. It's like every great story, you have to have a villain.
Yes, 100%.
And if you're going to get anybody to come together, you have to have a common enemy. Then look at politics. It's the same thing. That's why we keep saying it's
100%.
It's a system of control.
Yeah, 100%.
It's a system, because that's it. You need an enemy, and nothing unites people like coming against a common enemy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or fear or threat.
Oh, yes, 100%. That's it. That's number one. And so that was the medieval side of Christianity. But on the mystical side, what started happening is Satan is often understood in mysticism not as a literal enemy, but as an archetype of ego, shadow, of separation, all of those things. It's the part of us that resists love, right? It's the inner adversary that accuses, it shames, it deceives us. Even what Carl Jung, he suggested the devil represents our disowned shadow, actually, that everything we repress, deny, or project is the devil, the Satan, like within us, which is crazy.
Well, yeah, because you're denying the creation. You're denying the God that is in you.
Yes. Yeah.
So you're working in a anti-God, anti-creator, anti-source way with 100%. That thinking, with that,
you're separated in your thinking.
We've all got a little good and all got a little bad.
Yeah. Yep. And so they literally say that casting out demons can be seen as integrating your shadow or healing your trauma. As like simple as that, which is crazy.
Yeah. That's so interesting. That's interesting that you say that. Because I've mentioned before, I've been involved in a lot of quote unquote casting out demons type spaces. And we've heard about demons being related to the ego, largely, actually as to what they are. We've heard about demons being just out of your mind, or away from consciousness or such. But I was having breakfast with a friend the other morning, and I was telling him about my journey of how this all started, and thinking back, I've been trying to work through some of the trauma of it, and I've obviously learned so much through this time in terms of fascia in particular, and how trauma, well, I've not learned, I've lived it. Yeah. How trauma sits in your fascia. Memory sits in this gooey, stringiest type stuff below your skin that covers your whole body. Go check it out. It's unbelievable. We didn't even know this is in our body. We weren't taught this at school or anything. Anyway, it actually stores memory. It actually stores trauma. And so this at some point in your life actually needs to be released.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people who go through awakening pick up physical symptoms because it is the stored trauma in their body releasing. That's what's happening to me. 46 years of trauma, things that I've never dealt with. I had a brother that passed away. I had a sister that passed away.
Mm-hmm.
I had an abusive stepfather. I've had many other traumatic experiences, but one of the most was when this started. And how it started was that 2 nights in, my body just seized up.
Mm-hmm.
I went into standing convulsions where I looked like I was on an electric chair. My body was moving in all kinds of weird ways, and I was screaming out of pain. For me, it was traumatic because I never thought you could lose control of your body in that
so
way.
Bad.
There's just absolutely nothing you can do. And that happened for like 15 minutes every 2 or 3 minutes. Another one hit.
Yeah, it was
and you're
really
standing
bad.
there. And if I were looking at that from the outside, I would say that's a demon.
100%. I don't know if you remember in that moment, like I was obviously really shocked in the beginning, but I actually started laughing because I thought you were overreacting to it almost on purpose, but not really on purpose because I could tell you were in pain. But my mind couldn't react to what was going on with you because it looked so otherworldly, so it could have 100% been you like being exercised.
Totally.
On the spot. And
I've prayed for people to cast out demons that looked like that.
Yeah.
That looked like that.
And it was your trauma.
Maybe that's why I had to go through it, is to understand this side of it. But
true. Wow.
To understand that was physical. It wasn't spiritual. It was physical.
Yeah.
And reframing that as, whoa, that's not a demon. That's physical trauma.
Yeah.
And a lot of people outside of the church paradigm understand this already. But this friend said to me, that's amazing that trauma is stored in your body. And I said, yeah, I can feel it move around with different things that release through time. And I've had different parts of my body swell, different parts of my body in pain. And then that'll release. And this is all documented that's how fascia releases in layers, in different sections, different parts, because your body can't handle it. Your nervous system can't handle it all at once.
Yeah.
So it has to happen in these different spots. And he said, well, that's kind of like when we used to pray for people in church and pray for a section of their body that was sore, and then the pain would move to another part of their body. Mm-hmm. I'm like, yeah. Holy shit, that's crazy. That's fascia. That's fascia.
Crazy.
So God was connecting, was healing, but it was our lack of understanding. And again, we can say there were narrow things in the church that were good and gave us a foundation to connect. How much more now, though? Because now we know what it is, and it's not the devil. It's not a made-up thing. It's real. It's your physical trauma being carried in your body.
It's wild, and it's so true. Like, you can see it, and people are either not facing their trauma after being prayed for or anything, or something's happening in their bodies and they're taking medication for it, and people just keep masking these things until at some point I think your body doesn't allow you to mask it anymore. And if you're meant to step into awakening and that's part of your journey, it just happens like it did to you.
Yeah.
It was insane. But so, I mean, on that as well, so the last perspective of this in this loop of kind of where the devil has kind of morphed to, when you take the mystical view to like the next level, which is awakening and conscious perspective, Satan can actually be seen as a metaphor for the illusion of separation from God or source, which is the biggest realization you come to first on this awakening journey, is that you are not separate, right? And so Satan is a metaphor for that. The adversary is the ego mind that tells us we are small, unworthy, unloved, and cut off. That is the ego, is him. And then in this view, Satan isn't an external enemy, but an inner forgetting, a shadow that dissolves when remembered in light. And so isn't that so much better than saying like, because I've had so many friends on this journey when we face trouble tell us like, yeah, the devil's really after you guys. Like, you know, he's really out to get you.
Even mean?
You must
mean?
You must have so much that you're meant to do because the devil's trying to stop you from doing it. Like,
well, that's what people think about us right now.
I know.
So when we were in the church doing stuff, suffering for Jesus, the devil was working against us. And now that we've left the church, the devil's got us.
He got
But
us.
life's
Good.
going better.
Yeah.
Well, I guess the devil just blesses his followers. Like, okay.
Yeah, but
Sounds
to
like
us,
an okay deal.
to us, our life is going better. But from the outside, what you're going through, people probably
Sure.
think it is because we left God's presence, and now you're facing
it's got to do with those color
hardship.
lenses you spoke about. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. And then, just to end this off for this question about Satan and the devils, here's a quick, modern Satanistic view, just clarity on that. So the Levian Satanism, which started in 1966, they didn't believe in a literal devil when Satanism started. They used Satan as a symbol of freedom, individuality, and rejection of religious control. That is what actually, yes, that's when Satanism was formed. That was the purpose, and that was the thinking behind it.
No freaking ways.
Yes, and so it's called a atheistic viewpoint. And then the theistic Satanism, which is the other side of that, is a very, very small group who believe in worship and worshipping a Satan figure, but they are like fringe. They're not mainstream. Satan, there's not a lot of this. And so most Halloween or satanic panic fears actually have very little grounding in what actual Satanists believe or do. It's not, yeah. It's a very good, I didn't know that until I started looking into it for this question. And I was like, sheepers.
I mean, by that you would call us Satanists. We don't look to that behavior or that kind of deity. I mean, God or whatever it is being. But
no, definitely
we certainly
not.
aren't going with the program of the religious church.
Yeah.
Amazing. The separation from God thing is, it's blowing my mind this week.
Right.
Blowing my mind this week.
It's blew my mind this week.
Oh my gosh. So I have a former business colleague. I got this text from him who he's not part of the business anymore, but saying that he heard that I've separated from God. There was a lot more in the text, but that was one of the points. I heard you've separated from God, and I highly encourage you to take a retreat and find your spiritual health and blah, blah, blah.
Back to,
Yes. And so instead of getting into the personal details, which are just uncomfortable in terms of
no,
him
don't.
and me and that relationship, it really doesn't matter. What it got me thinking about was how real that is and why people think that. Why do Christians think that when you leave church, you've left God? Why do they think that? And so I started to look at that because dude, that is what people think about us right now. People who knew us in church.
Yes. That's what I thought about people who left church.
Yes.
100%. I would be like, oh, shame, they're outside of God's
They've walked away
world.
from God.
How do you walk away from God? It's scandalous, bro.
Yeah.
We're scandalous right now.
Yeah, and that is what people think. And I feel like I don't feel defensive or upset about that by any means.
No,
I feel sad.
not at all. I do too.
I feel sad that people are still in the paradigm of that. But I started looking at God as source then. If I've walked away from the source, if I've separated from God, well,
it's actually impossible.
God is the ground of all existence. So
yeah.
If God is existence, then separation is actually impossible.
It is impossible. Well, because you're in God as well. Like, we are in God.
Right.
You can't.
Every living thing is sustained.
Yes.
By the living Christ Spirit.
No, that one gets an X from me. That one is not valid.
You go, The next point about God as source that I considered was that awakening is not about leaving God.
Not at all.
You don't awaken to leave God, but waking up to God within and around you in everything. That's what you're doing. You're not leaving God. You're waking up to God.
It's amazing.
Real God.
Yeah.
And then I'd say it in the text as well, I'm not sure what you mean by separated from God, because even your own Bible says that nothing can separate you from the love of God. That's Romans 8, 38 to 39, if you must go look it up for yourself.
Yeah.
But it says nothing can separate us from the love of God. And
Yeah.
even the Bible says separation is impossible. So,
yeah, how did we get there?
Yeah.
I know.
It's crazy, because then you've left God, but the line is inconsistent with their own text.
I know.
Which used to be our own text.
I know. Yeah.
This thing that they preach unconditional love, that I preached unconditional love.
Right.
But enforce conditional belonging.
It doesn't go
together. So
together.
you have to go to church. You have to be there. You have to.
No.
Conditional belonging for unconditional love. It's hard to look back at. It's just hard to think that that's what I lived and breathed.
It's just, even if someone who's thick into church hears what you just said, surely you go like, whoa, yes, I've never thought of that. Surely you start thinking a little bit bigger and broader and outside of like the story we get told.
Maybe that's the mustard seed.
I hope
Maybe
so.
that's what it is. Faith like a mustard seed. I'm just thinking about this off the cuff. Maybe it's actually talking about, because what do you have faith for? You have faith for real life.
Yeah.
I would say you have faith for awareness, faith for consciousness, faith for being close to God, faith for, that's a miracle, faith for, but all of that stuff happens in consciousness, not in program. So maybe the mustard seed that you drop does ultimately become the seed of real faith.
Yeah.
But all in all, I think once those blinders are on, they're on.
Yeah.
There must have been people that try to tell me stuff along the way.
Maybe.
That I couldn't hear.
Conditioning is very hard to see through just on your own, especially when your ego is still in play. Because your ego has got you, and it will show you everything you need to see to believe in what you want to believe in. And that's why you are going through what you're going through now. Your ego would only be disrupted if you faced intense physical suffering for a long period of time. This is what it took for you, but if it could happen for you, it can literally happen for anyone else.
No, totally. Totally. So, I thought we'd end off today with just a few encouraging things for you.
Yes.
Just to remind you about what journey you're actually on and why leaving church. Not that we are like here to make people leave church, but we recognize that a lot of people that are here have left some form of religion.
Mm-hmm.
And that's our context that we understand. So that's why we speak about this topic. But this is why leaving church is not leaving God. Okay? Because the church is an institution, not the divine.
No.
Okay? Because many confuse leaving the container, which is church, with leaving the content, which is God.
Which is so the wrong way around anyway.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So awakening often reveals that God was never confined to buildings, sermons, or rituals.
Yeah.
And that in fact, stepping outside of church can expand your connection with God and with Source, not diminish it. So if that's the journey you're on, then fabulous, darling. It's fantastic. That's where you're meant to be. That's the whole point of this thing.
Yes, and you're doing a great job.
Kept from God by rituals, sermons, and buildings.
So true.
But to be free to discover. Now, don't get lazy. Build that relationship because it's awesome.
Yeah,
so
dig
cool.
in there. It's really fun. Mm-hmm. I love that.
Yeah, that's us for today.
It's amazing. That was a cool conversation. I really enjoyed it.
I know you learned a lot. I taught you a lot.
Thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed this episode.
If you found it valuable, please share it with someone who might need it too.
Remember, if you have left church or feeling you need someone to process some of these thoughts with, you can book a 15-minute discovery call on our website. You can also discover more of our mentorship programs and how I can help you through the void, bridging from what was to what is.
Visit unchurchingpodcast.com and follow us on Instagram @unchurchingpodcast. Till next time.
Cheers. Ciao. Goodbye.